Hello, my name is Kim Rubinstein. I'm a theater director. I've also been training actors for over 30 years to become the most authentic, vibrant, passionate, and specific actors they can be. Training actors is probably a little bit different than you think it is. It is not training a human being to wear a mask. It is quite the opposite. I think in our everyday lives, I don't know about you, but I wear masks depending on the moment, the circumstances. It is very rare that we are our authentic selves in front of other people. But the training of an actor is the training into the authentic self first. You have to rid yourself of everything that's in the way of being a pure vessel, a pure instrument of human behavior. So studying theater, studying what it means to be other people, is the deep and, I feel, scientific study of human behavior, perception, reception. It trains the actor to be deeply receptive to the world around them, to themselves, and to people and circumstances in the exterior field. About 5 years ago, I became very interested, suddenly, and without quite knowing why, in how creativity happens in the brain. After working with actors for 30 years, I have developed a training that gets right into what makes them human, and what makes them unique, and right into what creates creative leaps, sparks, and innovation. So I began to think about, what if there was a science of cultivating the creative mind? So I began to research with my colleague Lisa Porter the brain. I began to meet with neuroscientists all over the country, neurobiologists, cognitive scientists, to figure out what specific parts of the brain that we know so far are responsible for creative thinking. That is different than what we think of as creativity in an arts and crafts kind of way. I'm talking about actual creative thinking, like what you just talked about, and what Chancellor Kosa talked about. This kind of thinking where innovation is possible, where we can get into the mysteries that none of us can see yet, and in order to create something new and useful to the world. So I began to work with all these neuroscientists to develop a training for 10 different facets of the creative brain that we isolated. They are really actually functions of the creative mind. And we had developed a system called Cultivating the Creative Mind, the science of cultivating the creative mind, which trains these parts of the brain to be as athletic and optimal as possible. So if the last 20 years have been, about technology, about building the technology of our world and also of our brains, I'm trying to make an impact on the next perhaps 20 years in which the creative functions of our brain are equally athletic to the technical functions, and that they make a bridge between each other, and they are in constant collaboration where they riff off each other to create something that's never been created before. So I'm going to tell you, this is really for me about how do we make artistic minds more scientific, and how do we make scientific minds more artistic. So what is an artistic mind? What is that? Oh, geez. I have 1 minute and 51 seconds. What is an artistic mind? An artistic mind is me, when I'm a little girl, going up to the roof of my house when there's a full moon, and looking at the full moon with deep, 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 intense love and concentration, and believing that it was cut out of the sky, and that really there was this luminous, mysterious world behind it, that if I could just reach into, I would understand the mysteries of the universe. Pretty soon after that, fireflies came into my life in Cleveland. They kind of appeared one day in the backyard, and I thought, oh my God, they're like little bits of the moon, right? I mean, this little light that goes on and off. So look at this. Oh, I have to tell you something. And then the devastation. I found out that the moon, remember when Neil Armstrong landed on the moon? I watched it on television when I was a little girl, and I found out that it was a rock. This was a devastation to me. However, I went to the library and I researched everything I could possibly research about the scientific parts of what the moon is. And then when I put fireflies in a jar and began to research by figuring out how many seconds was between their light going on and off, my mother said to me, "You must let them go, because to let them go is to be free. And if you love something, you must allow it to be free." This was my second devastation. Then this happened. I decided to study the mind, and look what I found. What do you see there? Light, right? I also fell one time when I was little. Blood came out of my toe, and I was devastated because I thought I was made of light. So that's what the artistic mind is, right? Then I look at this. It is so gorgeous to me. And my research is about figuring out how to make those lights light up and how to make different neuronal circuits light together when they don't usually light together. The training that I've developed I've taught in 2 classes called Cultivating the Creative Mind to undergraduates. It's hugely successful, and I've just recently started to work with the graduate division to teach classes that synthesize Alan Alda's communicating science techniques with techniques of cultivating the creative mind, of building the powers of the creative mind to be stronger in any field of research for everyone, not just for people who have artistic minds, quote unquote. I have learned to have a more scientific mind. However, I am deeply dedicated to the human heart. I believe that the human heart is where we all have our unique jazz, where our authenticity, which is what I teach actors about, is alive and beating in each of us in a very jazz-like, unique way. My work with people who do Cultivating the Creative Mind is to find the authenticity of the self, to allow the heart to be connected to the brain, and finally, because my time is up, to be in a situation where we can sit in a boat, whatever that container is. That container could be our car. And we can allow our mind to extend, our vision, our sight, to extend into the mysteries that were like the luminous moon. I believe that scientists and artists are after the same kinds of mysteries. We are sometimes wrong, but we take leap after leap into the dark to try to figure something out, and we take leaps into the luminous moons. Do you see all the moons? Thank you.